Okay, this is the process of turning an Examview test bank into Moodle questions so that you can use them in your Moodle course. So I'm in Examview and I started out by going File, Quick Test Wizard, and I'm going to name this. We're going to say these are questions on electricity, and I'm going to say Next. And then it says, what do you want to include? So I'm on the Examview area and I'm going to go to, I think there's a section on electricity and magnetism. Let's just do the one on electricity, see how many questions there are there, and go next. So there you can, by the way, you can only import 250 questions at a time. So I'm going to import all 80 of these, and I'm going to go next and finish. So now I've built a test with all the questions that are in this Examview test bank with on electricity. You can see the names up there. So then I'm going to export it. So I'm going to go File, Export, and I export as a Blackboard. I think I did 5. And I'm going to call it electricity. Make sure you know where you're doing it. I'm doing it in a folder called 7th grade science. And then I have to name it up here. Electricity and directory name. I have to give it a unique directory name. I'm going to use the same one and say OK. And then it's going to build a file inside here called electricity. So now in my folder that I just made, there's a file called electricity.zip. I'm going to use that now in Moodle. So then I'm going to go in Moodle and I'm going to first make a category called electricity. Oh, it made its own one called climate change. I guess I don't need to. I'll leave that the way it is then. So I'm going to say import. And I made that as a Blackboard one. So I'm going to go to Blackboard. And I am just going to drop that file right there, electricity, drop it right in there, and say import. And it just went in and made 80 new questions in this test data bank. So if I go to questions, actually I'm going to go to categories first. I'm going to toss away that. So I've got this new one up here called climate change. I just did that as a test, and then I just did this one on electricity. And if I look at this one, I can see all the questions in here that are now available to be thrown onto a test. I'm going to tell you, you may not love all these questions. In fact, you may want to take your time and just import the ones you like. But let's, for instance, say, look at this one right here on electricity. Say preview. If we preview this, a clock radio is a power rating of 12 watts and uses 120 volts. What is the current going to the radio? How did you determine it? And we know it's volts times amp equal watts. So we can find the current, which is amps. I teach electricity in my class, so it's the only reason I know that. That's an essay question right there. Now, my point is that if I didn't like that question, I could just go down here and delete it right now. In fact, I think it's a good idea after an import to go through the questions one time and delete the ones that you think just don't apply to your class. Now, these are arranged by type right now. Those are all essay questions, and these are all multiple choice questions. That's what that little icon there means. And these down here are all true, false questions. Oh, no, these are fill in the blank questions. Electricity is blank if it can carry electric current from a short directly to the earth. Grounded is what I would say. Let's see. Where does it say what the fill in correct? Grounded. Look, I knew something. Okay, so that's a fill in the blank. Then down here, these 2.1s are true false questions. That's what those look like. So those are all the electricity questions from this particular test bank I'm looking at. So it's pretty easy. You make a test, you export it in Blackboard format, and then you can import it, and it will put it in the same category that you just named it. So if I go up to categories up here, I named it electricity, so it put it in a category called electricity. And that is it for importing questions from Examview into Moodle.